This is the Kitchen Sink WP Podcast, episode 529.
I program my home computer.
We have a server crash, 404 error, page not found, links aren't working, system is crashing, system is crashing, system is crashing.
Your old HTML website, barely alive. We have the technology. We have WordPress. A new website, better than it was before. Better, stronger, faster. We have the technology.
Hello, I'm Adam Silver, the host of the Kitchen Sink WP Podcast. Thanks for being here. Let's get started. All right, upcoming events. We have two of them next weekend. WordCamp Leipzig, April 20th. It's a one-day campus in Germany. And it's also WordCamp Bilbao. It's in Spain. It's April 20th and April 21st, a two-day camp. So again, if you're in those parts of the world, by all means, attend, report back to me, let me know. I should actually have some people submit things like how it went, get an interview with somebody or a takeaway, like have a correspondent. If you want to be a correspondent, we should talk. Shoot me a DM somehow. Find me online. Adam at KitchensinkWP.com. That'd be cool. All right, moving on. Segment one in the news. Two things to talk about here. First and foremost, Beeper is joining Automattic. Beeper is a it's a service kind of like texts.com. It was in recently until beta until recently. It was acquired literally April 9th this year, this past week. So they are joining Automattic. I'm guessing that Beeper is going to join forces with Texts that also Automattic owns and merge the platforms. It allows you to do different chats across the board on one app that runs them all kind of thing. So that's the thought there. Anyway, so I don't know exactly, but that's the thought. All right. There's a link in the show notes if you want to read about that. Also, my good friend Kyle Van Dusen released the Admin Bar survey. He runs the Admin Bar Facebook group. It's really cool. Puts out a weekly newsletter, some great content there. And the survey was really interesting. So I highly recommend, definitely check it out. Link in the show notes about that as well. And sign up to get his emails on Friday. It's called I think it's the Friday Chaser. So yeah, check that out as well. And very interesting things there. So cool. That's it in the news. Yeah, that's it in the news. Moving on, segment 2, meat and potatoes. This week I'm doing Where Are They Now? Part 3. Yeah, so actually I have 3 recordings sent in by Rene, Joe, and Alisa. And after you listen to those, we'll come back with segment 3, Tip and Tool of the Week. All right, here they are.
Hey, Adam. Thanks so much for reaching out. I'm happy to answer these questions for your show, and thanks for asking. Since we last spoke, a few of my web maintenance clients have wanted to launch digital products, but they really just didn't know where to start. You know me, I love planning and goals and accountability, and I understand the technology of selling online and, connecting all the systems. And I get that you have to market. You have to market your website, you have to market your product, you have to market your business. So we launched those products, and I really wanted to learn more, but it's really hard to reach out to someone and say like, hey, can I pick your brain? But if you reach out with like, hey, do you want to be on my podcast? It's a complete 180. I never really thought of myself as a podcast person, but after someone shared with me that it's a way to learn without having to be in front of your computer, plus finding some podcasts that weren't business related that I liked, I decided to start my own. So at the time of this recording, I have 55 episodes out of Your First Digital Product. I talk to business owners who have launched products, and not just like professionals, like quote unquote professionals, people who have mastered selling online, but like actual regular people. So like service providers who have successes and failures to share. And I also have solo episodes where we talk about everything from marketing to carving out time to create a product to all of the emotions that you may encounter along the way. I still build websites and have a wonderful base of maintenance clients, but I love diving into the world of digital products, especially for service providers. I see so many people following this like blanket advice, like create a course, and I just don't agree with it. Courses are big. They take a lot of time to create. You typically have to sell them at a higher price point, which can be difficult, and they take a lot of time for your customer to consume. Now, I don't run marathons like you, but I liken it to a marathon. Like if you've never run before, like why not start smaller? Like with a 5K. So smaller digital products like toolkits, workbooks, guides, things like that allow you to get the product created faster and launch faster so that you can really understand what's involved. So that's what's up in my world. If your listeners want to check out the podcast, they can go to yfdp.show. I hope you're well, and thanks again for letting me share with your audience.
Hey, Adam, this is Joe Simpson. And the first thing when I saw you were doing a Where's There Now series of episodes was I went back and listened to my episode with you. And the funny thing was that I was talking so fast. Wow, I was in such a hurry back then, but maybe it was because I was so excited to be on your podcast. It was pretty awesome because at that time in 2020, everything was up in the air. The pandemic was in full effect. And our lives were really impacted by what was happening with the civil justice movement. And I remember connecting with you because we'd had history before. You got me involved in WordCamp Los Angeles when I went to my first meetup and saw you talking about needing volunteers for WordCamp Los Angeles. I decided to volunteer. I decided to attend meetups. And that was sort of my entryway into volunteering and doing more in the WordPress community. I remember you reaching out and wanting to talk about what was going on in the world and how it impacted you. Meant a lot to me at that time, and it continued on for me in terms of what I wanted to do with WordPress, the type of people that I wanted to connect with, the type of contributions I wanted to do. And back then, I decided to do anything and everything in the WordPress community that I could. And at that time, everything was virtual. And I think after that episode, I think I volunteered, presented at, or helped organize almost every virtual WordCamp. From that point forward, we had 2 additional WordCamps in Santa Clarita, which I led. It was important to me. The WordCamps in Los Angeles and the communities in Los Angeles were impacted by the pandemic. And a lot of the communities decided to take a break and not do WordCamps or meetups as often as possible. San Diego went dormant. Orange County went dormant. Los Angeles went dormant. And I felt it was my responsibility to sort of keep some energy going in Southern California. And from that point, I was still trying to determine what was next for me. I shifted from doing a lot of speaking to focusing on organizing in other capacities. And I eventually went on to organize for WordCamp US. I became one of the lead sextet last year for the WordCamp US flagship and done a lot in terms of founding Black Press, a group focused on exposing African and those of African descent and Black Americans to WordPress in the hopes of doing a WordCamp style event at a historically Black college and university. I founded 2 additional meetups. So in terms of WordPress, I began to contribute more behind the scenes, and I've worked to help forward more speakers, persons of color at events. I've forwarded folks, asking them to get involved from the organizing standpoint, behind the scenes as well. And during this time, I met 2 incredible people, Rob Howard and Winstina Hughes, who have worked diligently to make sure that persons of color were represented as speakers at WordCamps, and they've helped me to attend a couple of WordCamps. But what I'm most proud of is they've worked, anytime I would suggest a name or forward a name, they've been really instrumental in helping connect them with sponsors that can help get them to WordCamps to present their ideas. Locally, we did some pretty amazing things here in Santa Clarita. We really had some incredible leaders in the accessibility area in our community, and we did anything and everything to sort of forward the message of accessibility in the WordPress space. We had the first WordCamp with a dedicated track of all accessibility talks over the entire weekend. So instead of, most camps have maybe 1 or 2 accessibility talks the entire weekend, we had 16, a keynote by Joe Dolson, a great voice within the WordPress space. And we've celebrated and pushed forward the message of an inclusive and open WordPress. I presented on accessibility most recently at WordCamp Asia. And then also professionally, I've continued to work at Metro in my capacity building WordPress sites. But one of the major things that happened is we were able to build our flagship site in WordPress since the time we've talked also. That's what's been going on with me professionally. But also, the current phase of my journey is I wanted to do more behind the scenes in terms of contributing to WordPress. So I've become a team rep for the accessibility team on Make. And in addition to that, I've led the table at Contributor Day and just trying to do more behind the scenes. And this year I want to really focus on helping test and make sure that not just the front end, but the back end tools that we build for WordPress are accessible. Awesome if I can participate in one of the builds for WordPress core. That would be awesome. That's sort of a goal in the future. But then also I think professionally for me, I really want to move on to building my own business where I could focus on the things that I bring to the table, front-end design and development, but also a keen eye for accessibility and helping companies in the public sector as well as large enterprise companies build accessible sites and design accessible content. So those are the things I've been up to. And again, I miss you being in Los Angeles, but I always have you close by. I listen to your podcast all the time. And as you know, I follow you as you do your triathlons and I do my hiking or walking 5 minutes before sunrise. So I'm always listening to Kitchen Sink WP. So I always have you on my headset, and I look forward to talking to you again soon and maybe seeing you at WordCamp US. Take care.
Hey Adam, thanks for inviting me to provide a little update about me. This is Alisa Herr, and I am the founder and CEO of Unity Web Agency. Since we last spoke in September of since we last spoke on your podcast in September of 2018, my highlights of my professional journey, I would say include my company, Unity Web Agency. At the time, it was Unity Digital Agency. We had massive growth in 2019. I hired an operations manager. I also hired a full-time developer. And both of those things allowed me to get a lot off of my plate and really allow me to step more into the role of CEO. I started doing a lot more strategy over projects and sales, and that's kind of what my job's been since, also managing people. In 2020, right along with the pandemic, we ended up rebranding from Unity Digital Agency to Unity Web Agency, and we kind of dropped a few services that were outside of our core wheelhouse, and leaned hard into website accessibility and making sure that all of the work that we're doing really prioritizes accessibility. And in 2021, we closed our office. We all started working from home. There was a lot of challenges with that. But generally, I'd say probably stability-wise, since 2020, our team's been around 6 to 7 people. We've had a lot of roller coaster years where we'll have great revenue one year and not so much the other. So 2022 was our best year ever in terms of both revenue and profits. And we barely squeaked by in 2023. So I'm feeling really positive about 2024. It's a year that we're going to blow out of the water. I can feel it. And then in terms of how I've evolved both personally and professionally, and whatever significant milestones or lessons that have shaped my journey. For this episode, I'm going to keep it more on the professional side. But in late 2020, I enthusiastically joined 2 other B Corp leaders to co-found a business that was rolling out a SaaS product, and they needed a tech lead. And it's hard. It's really, really hard. Startup life is hard. I forgot about that. I thought that having co-founders would help, but I've been burned out on that project for a couple of years now, and trying to find a way to step back. And it's just been hard because I don't want to let people down. I don't want something to fail just because I'm not putting my heart into it. And I also don't want to lose what, the return on investment that I have put on it. Anyway, so that's a whole challenge. Lesson from that is that it really does take a special kind of person to lead the tech for a SaaS company. And if you're already leading another company that requires your full-time attention, maybe don't start another without figuring out how to manage your time better. I'm a chronic overcommitter. I would definitely do things differently if I could do them over again, but I can't. So really just taking that lesson forward. Focus on one thing at a time, Alisa, and don't overcommit. How about undercommit? Let's try that. Well, in terms of upcoming projects or ventures on the horizon for me, I'm actually talking with a few people at the moment about some really exciting upcoming opportunities. And if everything works out, then plans should be coming together in the next few months. One of the things that I can talk about at the moment is that I'm working on creating my succession plan, and I don't really have plans at the moment to leave my company, but I have been thinking a lot about the future of what Unity could look like and how to ensure that it can remain without me at the helm. So I've been considering different types of worker ownership. And I'm currently on a mission. I'm at the very beginning of it, so it feels weird to say I'm on a mission because that's like I'm taking the first steps at the moment towards converting Unity to be a worker cooperative. So that's a really exciting thing for me. And in terms of everything else that's happening this year, if everything goes well with other things, then I'm happy to give you another update later on. But thank you so much, Adam, for having me on. And I just really appreciate you and this podcast. And so keep it up. And thank you so much.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Rene, Joe, and Alisa. Really cool hearing from you all, and happy that things are going well and changes happen and all that. I mean, really cool things have happened for all three of you, so pretty cool. All right, moving on. Segment 3, Tip and Tool of the Week. This week, I wanted to mention a PDF, a document called Marketers-Guide-to-WooCommerce. It's been put out by Katie Keith. She's part of Barn 2 Plugins and Filter Agency. It's a really interesting read, and it's really comprehensive about what's going on with WooCommerce and the state of e-commerce and whatnot. And I may or may not have just picked up a new domain that's going to be e-commerce related. I cannot confirm or deny that, but by the tone of my voice, maybe you already know. So yeah, that's 2 domains I've bought this year out of the 3 that I said I would. But Kyle said 7. He predicted earlier this year for me. So I'm still way below that. All right. That is it for this week. Let me wrap it up. Oh, there's a link in the show notes for the Marketer's Guide to WooCommerce. All right. Let me wrap it up. If you have any questions, send it in via email, adam@kitchensinkwp.com, or use the SpeakPipe function on the website. If you want to support the show, I would love that. You can become a Patreon. You can buy me a coffee. Links on the website there as well. Or go to kitchensinkwp.com/Patreon. If you want to sponsor the show, there's a form on the website. You got to fill that out and I'll get right back to you. Thanks for listening. See you next week. Now go out and do some awesome things with WordPress. All right. Bye-bye.